After the age of 50, the body does not slowly shut down the way we are told, it shifts its priorities, and the most powerful work it does happens when the world goes quiet, when the lights are off, and when sleep is deep, because between roughly 10 at night and 2 in the morning, the brain releases the highest pulses of growth hormone it will produce all day, a hormone that does not make you taller, but instead rebuilds collagen, repairs muscle fibers, strengthens bones, and restores skin integrity. And research shows that adults who consistently miss deep sleep produce dramatically less growth hormone, accelerating wrinkles, thinning skin, joint pain, and loss of muscle mass in ways that no cream or supplement can reverse. What most women do not realize is that menopause does not remove the body's ability to repair, it removes hormonal cushioning, meaning sleep becomes the gatekeeper of youth, and every night of fragmented or shallow sleep raises cortisol, the stress hormone that directly breaks down collagen, increases abdominal fat storage, weakens immune response, and signals the body that survival matters more than beauty or longevity, which is why chronic poor sleep is now linked in large population studies to faster biological aging at the cellular level, including shortened telomeres, the protective caps on DNA that predict lifespan more accurately than chronological age. Deep sleep is not passive rest, it is active reconstruction, and brain imaging studies show that during slow-wave sleep, the glymphatic system flushes metabolic waste from brain tissue, including beta-amyloid proteins associated with cognitive decline, while simultaneously lowering systemic inflammation that silently erodes joints, blood vessels, and skin overnight. After 50, estrogen no longer stabilizes body temperature, blood sugar, or mood through the night, which is why night waking becomes common, and each awakening interrupts the precise hormonal choreography required for tissue repair, leading researchers to describe menopause-related sleep disruption as a hidden accelerator of aging, not because the body stops healing, but because it is repeatedly pulled out of the repair state before the job is finished. Studies in sleep laboratories have shown that even one night of reduced deep sleep can decrease insulin sensitivity the next day, increasing blood sugar spikes that damage collagen fibers through glycation, a process where sugar binds to proteins and makes skin stiff, brittle, and prone to sagging, while long-term sleep deprivation increases inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, which correlates strongly with cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and visible skin aging. This is why women who sleep poorly often feel like they are aging overnight, because in a biological sense they are cells that should have been renewed, remain damaged, hormones that should have been balanced remain chaotic, and tissues that should have been rebuilt are left in a state of slow breakdown. What is rarely discussed is that the body's nighttime repair depends not only on sleep duration, but on nervous system state, because the parasympathetic rest and repair mode must dominate for deep sleep to occur, and after 50, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to stimulation from caffeine, alcohol, blue light, late meals, and emotional stress, all of which keep cortisol elevated into the night, suppressing melatonin and growth hormone release, even if you are technically asleep. Large-scale epidemiological studies have found that habitual short sleepers show accelerated loss of bone density, higher fracture risk, and increased frailty with age, not because they lack calcium, but because bone remodeling requires deep sleep to activate osteoblasts, the cells that build bone, while sleep deprivation favors osteoclast activity, which breaks bone down. Skin research reveals a similar pattern. Participants restricted to poor sleep for just a few nights showed increased fine lines, reduced skin elasticity, slower wound healing, and higher perception of aging compared to well-rested controls, confirming that beauty sleep is not a myth but a measurable biological process. Perhaps most shocking is the evidence linking sleep timing to longevity, with studies showing that individuals who consistently fall asleep earlier and align with circadian rhythms have lower all-cause mortality, reduced cancer risk, and better metabolic health, because the body's internal clocks regulate when genes responsible for repair are switched on, and those genes respond to darkness, calm, and metabolic rest, not stimulation. After 50, the margin for error narrows, meaning the body can still regenerate, but only if given the correct window, and that window is night. This is why nighttime habits matter more than daytime supplements, because you cannot override biology with pills when the repair machinery itself is offline. When deep sleep is protected, collagen synthesis increases, inflammatory cytokines decrease, blood vessels regain elasticity, memory consolidates, and the immune system resets. But when sleep is shallow, fragmented, or delayed, the body enters a conservation mode that prioritizes immediate energy over long-term structure, and aging accelerates silently. The tragedy is that many women believe this decline is inevitable, when in reality it is often a signal that the body is being deprived of its most powerful healing state, night after night, year after year. The good news, supported by decades of sleep and aging research, is that when nighttime conditions are restored, darkness, calm, nourishment, and rhythm, the body responds quickly because it was designed to heal in cycles, not decline in a straight line. Aging is not the enemy, disrupted repair is, and the moment deep sleep is reclaimed, the body remembers exactly what to do. What most people never realize is that the body does not rebuild itself with pills, powders, or expensive treatments. It rebuilds itself with raw materials, and after the age of 50, those materials must arrive at the right time, in the right form, and in a state the body can actually use, because research shows that digestion, absorption, and tissue repair follow circadian rhythms just as strictly as sleep does, and nutrients consumed at night are routed not toward energy production but towards cellular maintenance, collagen synthesis, and repair. Science has confirmed that collagen is not absorbed whole from supplements but is broken down into amino acids, and unless the body is in a parasympathetic, low-stress state, those amino acids are burned for fuel rather than used to rebuild skin, joints, and connective tissue, which explains why studies repeatedly find that collagen supplements show inconsistent results, while food-based amino acids consumed in calming evening routines demonstrate measurable improvements in skin elasticity, joint comfort, and sleep depth. Bone broth, for example, is not powerful because it is trendy, but because it delivers glycine, proline, and glutamine in ratios that mirror human connective tissue, and glycine in particular has been shown in clinical trials to lower core body temperature, quiet brain activity, and shorten the time it takes to fall asleep, while simultaneously increasing slow-wave sleep, the exact stage where growth hormone peaks and collagen rebuilding occurs. In controlled studies, adults who consumed glycine before bed experienced improved sleep quality and next-day cognitive performance without sedation, revealing that this amino acid acts not as a drug, but as a biological signal telling the brain that it is safe to enter repair mode. Chamomile tea works through a similar mechanism, not through folklore, but through apigenin, a flavonoid that binds to benzodiazepine receptors in the brain, gently enhancing GABA activity, which calms neural firing, lowers cortisol, and reduces nighttime inflammation. And research has shown that chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of collagen breakdown, skin thinning, and joint degeneration in aging women. When cortisol remains elevated at night, collagen-degrading enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases increase, actively dismantling the skin's structural framework while you sleep, which means a calming drink that lowers stress hormones is not a comfort ritual, it is biochemical protection. Tart cherry juice provides another startling example of food acting as information rather than calories, because it is one of the only natural sources of melatonin, and studies in older adults have shown that even small amounts significantly increase sleep duration and efficiency while reducing nighttime awakenings. And melatonin itself is not merely a sleep hormone, but a powerful antioxidant that protects mitochondria, shields skin cells from oxidative damage, and regulates immune function during the night. Researchers have found that melatonin levels decline sharply with age, especially after menopause, and this decline correlates with increased inflammation, faster skin aging, and higher risk of metabolic disease, meaning that restoring melatonin naturally through food can influence far more than sleep alone. Golden milk made with turmeric delivers yet another layer of protection because curcumin has been shown in hundreds of studies to inhibit NF-κB, a master inflammatory switch that accelerates aging, joint pain, insulin resistance, and cardiovascular disease. And when inflammation is reduced at night, the body can redirect energy away from defense and toward regeneration. Warm milk itself contains tryptophan, an amino acid required for serotonin and melatonin production, and research shows that when tryptophan availability increases in the evening, sleep latency shortens and nighttime awakenings decrease, reinforcing the cascade of repair hormones that follow deep sleep. What is shocking is not that these simple drinks work, but that modern habits actively block their effects because alcohol, sugar, and late-night snacking have been shown to suppress growth hormone by up to 70%, fragment REM and deep sleep cycles, and spike insulin during hours when the body is meant to be metabolically silent, leading to glycation damage that stiffens collagen fibers and makes skin less resilient. Studies using skin biopsies reveal that poor sleepers have reduced nighttime blood flow to the skin, impairing nutrient delivery and waste removal, while well-rested individuals show increased microcirculation that supports overnight repair, proving that what you drink before bed directly affects whether nutrients reach the tissues they are meant to heal. Perhaps the most powerful finding is that consistency amplifies these effects, because the body adapts rapidly to repeated signals, and research on circadian entrainment shows that when the same calming nutrients are consumed nightly, the nervous system begins to anticipate rest, melatonin release occurs earlier, cortisol drops faster, and sleep depth improves within days, not months. This is why small, gentle nighttime drinks can outperform aggressive daytime interventions, because they work with biology instead of against it, and when the body is given the message that danger has passed and resources are available, it does exactly what it was designed to do: repair, rebuild, and restore. Aging in this context is not driven by time, but by unmet nighttime needs, and the science is clear that when inflammation is calmed, stress hormones are lowered, and repair nutrients arrive during the body's natural rebuilding window, skin regains elasticity, joints move more freely, sleep becomes deeper, and the pace of aging slows in measurable, visible ways. The tragedy is that these interventions are simple, inexpensive, and accessible, yet rarely discussed, while the hope lies in the fact that the body responds quickly when given the right signals, because healing was never lost. It was only waiting for the right conditions to return. The greatest misconception in modern health is the belief that aging is a deficiency problem that can be fixed with a pill, because research consistently shows that the body does not heal in response to isolated substances, but in response to patterns, rhythms, and repeated signals that tell it whether the environment is safe enough to invest energy in long-term repair. And after the age of 50, this distinction becomes critical because hormonal buffering declines and the body becomes brutally honest about how it allocates its resources. Studies in circadian biology reveal that every cell in the body contains its own clock genes, and these genes do not respond to supplements taken at random times, but to consistency: when you eat, when you rest, when you sleep, and when you stop stimulating the nervous system. And when these clocks are disrupted, the genes responsible for collagen production, DNA repair, immune surveillance, and metabolic balance simply do not turn on at full strength, no matter how many nutrients are available. This is why large population studies repeatedly show that people who follow regular daily routines age more slowly at the cellular level than those with chaotic schedules, even when diet quality and exercise are similar, because the body interprets rhythm as stability, and stability is the condition required for regeneration. After menopause, cortisol becomes the dominant hormone shaping nighttime physiology, and cortisol is not influenced by supplements nearly as much as it is influenced by habits, light exposure, emotional state, meal timing, and predictability, which is why women who take sleep aids or collagen powders but continue late nights, irregular meals, and overstimulation often see little improvement, while those who change nothing except their evening rhythm experience deeper sleep, calmer mornings, and visible changes in skin and joint comfort within weeks. Laboratory studies show that cortisol suppresses fibroblast activity, the very cells responsible for producing collagen and elastin, meaning that even with abundant amino acids in the bloodstream, collagen synthesis stalls when stress hormones remain elevated, and this explains why relaxation, repetition, and routine can outperform the most expensive interventions. The nervous system learns through repetition, and research in neuroplasticity confirms that repeated evening cues, dim light, warmth, calm beverages, and predictable timing train the brain to shift into parasympathetic dominance more efficiently each night, shortening sleep onset and increasing slow-wave sleep, the phase where growth hormone, immune repair, and tissue rebuilding peak. What is rarely discussed is that inconsistency itself is interpreted by the body as a threat, because irregular sleep and eating patterns resemble environmental instability, and under perceived threat, the body prioritizes immediate survival over long-term maintenance, diverting resources away from skin, hair, joints, and bone density toward glucose production and alertness. This is why studies on shift workers are so revealing, as they show accelerated aging, increased cardiovascular disease, higher cancer risk, and shortened lifespan, not because of nutrient deficiencies, but because circadian disruption alone is enough to impair DNA repair and immune function, proving that rhythm is not a lifestyle preference but a biological requirement. Supplements cannot correct this because they do not address timing, and timing is what determines whether nutrients are used for repair or burned as fuel, a fact confirmed by metabolic studies showing that identical meals consumed at different times of day produce radically different hormonal and inflammatory responses. Consistency also affects insulin sensitivity, which is directly tied to collagen integrity, because repeated late-night eating keeps insulin elevated during hours meant for fasting, increasing glycation, a process that cross-links collagen fibers and makes skin rigid, fragile, and prone to sagging, while predictable evening fasting windows allow insulin to fall, autophagy to activate, and damaged proteins to be recycled during sleep. Autophagy, often described as the body's internal cleanup system, is profoundly sensitive to routine, and research shows that it activates most strongly when fasting, darkness, and sleep occur together in a predictable pattern, clearing dysfunctional cells that would otherwise contribute to inflammation, aging, and disease. The most shocking finding in aging research may be that consistency can partially reverse biological age markers, as studies using epigenetic clocks demonstrate that improving sleep regularity, meal timing, and circadian alignment can slow or even reverse methylation patterns associated with aging, while supplements alone show minimal impact without lifestyle rhythm changes. This is why longevity research increasingly emphasizes daily structure over biohacking, because the body evolved to heal in cycles, not in response to isolated inputs. When routines stabilize, the gut microbiome also shifts, favoring bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids linked to reduced inflammation, improved skin barrier function, and stronger immune response, while erratic schedules disrupt microbial balance, increasing gut permeability and systemic inflammation that degrades collagen and accelerates aging from the inside out. Even bone health is rhythm-dependent, as studies show that osteoblast activity follows circadian patterns, peaking during nighttime sleep, and inconsistent routines blunt this activity, contributing to bone loss that no amount of calcium supplementation can fully counteract. The uncomfortable truth is that the body does not reward intensity, novelty, or effort. It rewards reliability, and the women who age most gracefully are often not doing more, but doing less with greater consistency. A simple evening routine repeated nightly sends a powerful message to the body that danger has passed, resources are sufficient, and repair is permitted, and once that message is received consistently, physiological systems realign with remarkable speed. Within days, cortisol rhythms normalize. Within weeks, sleep deepens. Within months, skin elasticity improves, joints become less inflamed, and energy stabilizes, not because of a miracle product, but because the body is finally operating under conditions it recognizes as safe. Aging accelerates when the body is forced to improvise, but it slows when the body can predict what comes next. And science now confirms what traditional cultures understood intuitively, that rhythm is medicine, repetition is regulation, and consistency is the foundation upon which all healing is built.